All right, let's get started here. We're going to bring out the running backs by average per game order. Barkley, Henry, Gibbs, Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Kyrene Williams, James Cook here, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, and Shuba Hubbard, and David Montgomery. And can we squeeze in Devon A. Chain here? Here we go. So that's their. Now you can see here. I'll go ahead and go to the next one. Put on the bar graph here. Jonathan Taylor out of step here. Well, he missed some games last year. He missed 3 games. So his average per game, 16.34, would have been 5th. But his fantasy finish is lower because he missed games. And you can see they're sticking out here. Joe Mixon missed games, 3 games. So his average was a little higher than the. And then you have Alvin Kamara. He missed 3 games here as well. And, of course, David Montgomery missed those 3.5 games at the end that helped propel Gibbs to that great fantasy finish there with number 3. All right. So, and we'll run one more here. We'll bring out their. Here they are by average. And so here's where we're wanting to get to. They're ranked by average. We can see Barkley was number 1 average, 20 points a game. Right? And Derrick Henry here, 18.79 a game. Gibbs here next. You can see there's a little drop off here after these 3. So right here to 16.5. It's almost a 2 points drop off here between Gibbs and the number 4 Robinson. And Jonathan Taylor, now he missed games, right? But his average was pretty high here, 16.34. Then we have a little further. That's a point drop off here, almost to Josh Jacobs. And going down the pyramid here. You can see that he's dropping off lower as we go. So you can see quite a difference here between, obviously, Barkley. You had Barkley help win your year. And even these 2, Derrick Henry and Gibbs. And then we're getting down to where there is kind of a straight line here, although it's sloping down. So you wanted to get one of these better ones. Well, let's go ahead next and bring up the rankings here. So this is how they're ranked for next year. You'd think by their average last year they'd be pretty well in order, but they're not. Barkley's, they've got number 2 here. All right, Barkley finished number 1 last year. They got him number 2. Of course, he had those 2,000 yards. Derrick Henry, here they had. They got him ranked 6th, right? And he finished number 2 here. So you can see, and then the rest of them are pretty well here. But, hey, they're not giving Derrick Henry his due. Now we look in here, he does have the 29th schedule, so that isn't great. But I just hope they're probably worried about his injury and getting hurt. So you move down the line here. Well, Jonathan Taylor's kind of out of sync here. And some of the rest of them here. But the one I'm focused on is this Devon A. Chain. You can see he had the 13th highest average last year. And they've got him, up here, he ranked 4th. They got him ranked 4th. And he finished with 813 average. That was 7 points away from here. Brian Robinson Jr. finished 4th. And he was averaging 16 points a game. So they're going to say that somehow Devon A. Chain's going to pick up 3.5 points a game. All right. And, yeah, coach is preparing to give more work this season. Set sights on 1,000 yards rushing, 500 yards receiving. Well, it pretty well had that last year. The yardage is exactly the same. The touchdowns were their variable. But I don't see how he's going to jump his average up so high to get up here with the big boys up here on this top shelf. And that's where they've got him ranked, so I'd be careful about that. All right, hit that subscribe button as the season gets closer, our fantasy season. You want to be subscribed to get the latest. And give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you. How'd they do last year in the consensus rankings? Well, here's how they were brought out here. You can see they had Christian McCaffrey number 1, Breece Hall number 2, and Do you see that here? Barkley was ranked 5th last year going in, and they had Derrick Henry way down here at number 10. All right, well, here's how they finished in fantasy last year. You can see you were worried that you didn't have the first or second pick. Well, good thing. The first and second pick misfired. And even the third and fourth here, Bijan Robinson ranked third, finished fourth. You don't get one above water here till Barkley and Gibbs here. Although Gibbs wasn't such a surprise here, you can see he was ranked sixth, Barkley fifth here, and Derrick Henry. But if you had, there were some misfires here, obviously, of the top 10. McCaffrey, Breece Hall, and you can't even say Breece Hall did it because he missed games. It was just poor average, 11.74. And obviously, Pacheco missed some games here too. And even in the games he was playing, 6.23. Well, that's ETN. Just a terrible average for him. Well, Isaiah Pacheco had a 6.432 in the games he played. By then, Kareem Hunt had already come on and taken over the job. But anyway, so don't be concerned if you don't have that first or second pick, because hey, some of the good ones are come here in the middle of the first round. Let's take a look at some of those good ones. All right, let's get started here. Looking at these, I got the running back consensus running backs loaded. We'll start here at the top with the number 1 and 2. Number 1, they've got Bijan Robinson. All right, finished 4th last year. We saw his average. That's 1,456 yards, 4 touchdowns he had, right? And 431 yards and a touchdown receiving, too. Barkley, though, how's he going to catch up with Barkley? Had that 20 points a game. We saw the 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and threw in 278 yards receiving, too, with 2 touchdowns. So we got Barkley there looking good here. Of course, thinking he might regress a little bit. Hey, we look back at his other years. Of course, look at that. 2024, that 20 points a game average. Woo! He now way back in 2018, he did something like that. So, hey, there's room for regression down here to 17 some points. But if that happens, we're going to assume then that Robinson moves up to 18. All right, he needs to move up a little bit to do that. And what's his, hey, he's a healthy workhorse back. Though, hey, number 3 in the league with 728 yards after contact. And they're just going to keep using him more. They got him set up there. Tyler Algiers, no big threat here. But, hey, they're putting a lot on the shoulders of this Michael Penix Jr. He's 3 games. He played in the NFL experience now. He did all right. I guess that last game anyway, but 7.8 in average isn't that great. But, hey, that's a lot of these numbers here are with Kirk Cousins at the quarterback. So you wonder, is that going to bring Robinson down a little bit? Could be a little question mark there. And, of course, Barkley, hey, he's got the 14th schedule. That's not bad. There's no competition for him other than maybe they're going to try to throw the ball a little bit more this year. You see number 2 in rushing, number 29 in passing. Well, you think that the teams next year will probably have some sort of defense figured out here to try to slow down Barkley, right? And that rushing, so that maybe they'll have to pass more there in Philly. Up next we have Gibbs and Devon Achane here, 3 and 4. Well, hey, I have no problem with Gibbs here at number 3. All right, hey, finished 18.4 game. Can he live after Ben Johnson? Going to have a new offensive coordinator. Might throw deeper a little bit more, the word is. But, hey, 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 500 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. All-purpose back Gibbs last year. See, exploded there at the end. Last 4 games over 20. And we said that's without Gibbs there, or without Montgomery in there stealing some touchdowns from him. So he had full run. Well, Montgomery's back this year, but they're thinking he's going to take over the job pretty well by himself, and they got him up ranked 2. Now, here's the one I don't understand, Devon Achane. Certainly I see talent there. Hey, he finished 9th last year with that 13-point average. So, and he had 900 yards rushing, and we saw that it's 600 yards receiving, though, and 6 touchdowns. But you wonder how he's going to get that cranked up 3.5 more points. He does have the easiest 7 schedule. But they're just like the others. Hey, we're going to have to make sure that Tua is there all the time and ready to go for that. Otherwise, that could bring down Devon Achane there. So, and does Tyreek Hill come back? But hey, that's a lot to ask. Now, they did bring in Madison, and maybe they're expecting more from this Jalen Wright. You know, seemed like a lost year last year, but they're going to need more. Mostert and Jeff Wilson's gone. So, I mean, yes, Achane he was number 1 last year, but unquestioned. I just think that 4th ranking's a little high, and I brought it up before this, 188 pounds. Now, they said he'd been working to try to put on a little weight, I think I read, but hey, he's still a little 188 pounds. You don't want that many touches for that long, right? So I don't know about that. I want to bring on next. Of course, this Christian McCaffrey's been moving up, right? Disappointing year, but hey, they've got him ranked up to number 5 now, right? You see that ranking, number 5? He has the number 1 easy position schedule. I know why it's tempting. You know, you look back at those other years, and it wasn't last year, we obviously fall off, but he had that 20 points a game just like Barkley was getting there. And you can see back the 2 years before that, kind of dropped off a little bit, back up the last year too, in that 2023. So, I don't know. We'll see there too. But hey, might seem risky, but they're always one of the top offenses, right? You know, that's Kyle Shanahan's got them going. Good offenses there. How about Derrick Henry here? Now here they're laying off Derrick Henry a little bit. He finished number 2 with that 18.79, right? 16 touchdowns last year. And that 19. Hey, you know, this is on top of Lamar Jackson throwing for 41 touchdowns, right? Woo. Baltimore last year, number 1 team offense. Number 1 in rushing, although Lamar helps out, throws in there, but Derrick Henry with those 16 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 18 touchdowns. You know, you could come back on that a little bit, but we'll look at his yearly. Hey, look at this. He's on a good team now those last 2 years, but before that, he's always been up there knocking on 20's door. So another good team, as long as he stays healthy, I don't see why he can't be in that top 3 or 4 again. So now I don't like the schedule, number 29. You know, but hey, we've been waiting forever for Keaton Mitchell to come on. Justice Hill isn't taking over. No one's taking over. It's Derrick Henry. But we'll get, as it gets closer, we'll see how they move these rankings around. But I think he's a little more deserving of a higher ranking than Devon Achane. And which one do you trust more now? That's a good choice. Good question. Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey? Hey, let me know who you would choose between the two in the comments below. Thumbs up, too. Give me a thumbs up. How about Ashton Jeanty here? They got him ranked number 7 now. Right? You got him ranked number 7. Of course, rookie in camp, looking good there. And Jonathan Taylor. They finished 8th last year. Right? 1,400 yards. And he always throws in 100 receiving last year, too. Usually throws in a little bit more on that receiving. But, so last year, hey, the average is pretty good, though he missed some games. So you can see him right in there at that 15. So maybe this isn't too far off this 8th ranking here. He does have a 20th schedule. That's not top half anyway. That's not great, but so Jonathan Taylor here at 8. I don't know. Let's move on. They got Josh Jacob and Kyron Williams next, right? So Josh Jacobs, hey, you know, Josh Jacobs finished 5th last year. 15.5 points a game, 15 touchdowns. That touchdown games you had him through. And he throws in 3. Don't forget, he throws in 342 yards receiving here. Kyron Williams, this is a big question mark. He finished 6th last year, right? 1,300 yards for you. The contract concerns. They got him down at number 10, though, right? Number 10, that starting to get some value there, right? We look back his last 2 years. Year before last, you can see he even did even better. And it's about 20 points a game. Woo, had to put him in the top 3. And dropped off a little bit. They keep waiting on these rookies, Blake Corum, or this Hunter's the rookie this year, brought in to compete. You know, it all comes down to that contract. I know I keep saying it, but hey, he's only getting paid $1 million a year. Is he happy? Is he going to get a new contract for the season? And how much will they try to work those other guys in for that contract? But anyway, let's look at the top 10 there. I'd still say this Devon A-Chain here is the one I'm worried about. Top ones there, and of course you're worried about Christian McCaffrey too. Just is he back full this year, and I don't want to be bid again. All right, but Devon A-Chain here is a question mark, and that's about it though. I mean, otherwise the rankings look pretty good. Just that A-Chain. All right, take a look at this.